GM. This lesson is going to cover some of the frequently asked questions from new blue belts. Hopefully it will help guide you along the way. So, at the beginning of blue belt, in the proof of work and overview section, I talk about the use of an API to track trades. As one of the key features of blue belt is to take your 100 live trades with your risk defined and prove to me that you can follow that path without deviating more than 10% from your risk limits. However, having launched blue belt and spoken to thousands of students at this point on it, it's not possible for absolutely everybody to reliably use an API to track their trades because not every exchange has that facility. Right? Some people are trading on Binance or Bybit, who does have that facility. Some people are trading on lesser known exchanges or spot only exchanges, or just wherever they're trading. Maybe they're not even trading crypto. Maybe someone's trading gold or Forex, which I have no problem with. So there won't be any requirement for using an API. So if you saw that on the previous lesson, don't worry. All you need to do is track your trades on a spreadsheet. And if you need a spreadsheet, I will link one. But also, you can just use the same spreadsheet you used for the backtesting in white belt and then edit it. You can add columns in and you can remove anything that's not needed. So a recommendation I would have would be to take the blueprint from the original backtesting sheet and add in a column for expected risk and then realized risk. So meaning, if you're expecting to lose $1 on your trade, you then write in your actual returns in terms of your win or loss. And obviously this matters on the loss side, and see if it is more than 10% deviation. And then you can have another column for those deviations. There will be a sheet added for that, but it's very simple to do yourself. And I would recommend you do it yourself because it's extra practice. So that's the question about APIs. No need to worry about them. Next, a common question. Do all 100 trades have to be on the same coin? The answer is no. All 100 trades in blue belt do not have to be on the same coin. They do have to be part of a system. It must be a system with predefined rules, and you must state those rules on your sheet. So for example, let's imagine that by the end of blue belt, you have system A, which might be on a 4-hour chart. Okay. System B, which you're testing on a 1-hour chart. System C, which you're testing on a 15-minute chart. Okay. In each of those, so this, you should copy paste this across so they're all tracked the same, but keep them separate, right? Different tabs on the same sheet, but make sure that each system you test has its own tab. And then put your rules in for each of those systems. So rules go there, and then copy it across for each of your systems. And obviously every system will be different. So system A, system B, system C will all have different rules. And that allows you then to test as many or as few systems as you want in the blue belt stage and still get credit for it. This comes down to honesty on your part. Because we are not using the API method, as it's functionally not possible and it's not scalable, I trust you to be honest. Because at the end of the day, if you lie about your returns or your results or whatever in blue belt, it only affects you. It doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect my captains. It only affects you. So you should actually do 100 real trades to pass the blue belt program. Making up trades is going to get you nowhere. It's only going to show, and only you will know, it's an honesty test. It's only going to show that you do not have what it takes to become a trader. Because you cannot follow the process. Because the only reason why somebody would fake their trades is impatience. There is no requirement for you to make profit to pass blue belt. I'm very clear about this. The only thing that's measured in blue belt is consistency as a trader. Meaning, can you set rules, follow the rules, and keep your risk defined? The only thing you do is limit your risk in blue belt. Whether you make profitable returns on the winners or not is irrelevant to me. And so, at the blue belt stage, if you lie or cheat or shortcut in any way, understand that I don't know, I don't care, I will never know, but it is a reflection on you as a trader, and it probably does mean that you won't make it as a trader. Because it means, let's say it might take you 6 or 8 weeks to do your 100 trades live, following a couple of low time frame systems. You're like, oh, I can't wait that long. Maybe even for some of you, it's 3, 4, 5 months. Blue belt can go on for as long as it needs to, for every single person, until they get their 100 trades. There are many, many more lessons coming for blue belts. There are streams every week. There are blue belt specific challenges. There's so many things that will develop you as a trader, whether you spend 2 months in blue belt or 6 months or 12 months. It doesn't matter. The goal is to set the foundation for the rest of your life. Everybody here who learns how to trade systematically will trade for the rest of their life. This is a fact. The only people who start trading and then stop trading are those who aren't systematic and they blow up. If you follow what I'm telling you, that can never happen to you. I think people underestimate how powerful this is. Being a systematic trader who sticks to the rules, you can never blow up your account, because the first thing you do is manage your risk. And if you do that, you will trade forever. I have never met a systematic trader who has stopped. None of them have retired. That is a fallacy. Because what does that even mean? You want to retire from your bullshit 9-to-5 job, sure. But if you're a profitable trader and you build systems and you test them and you trade them and they keep working, why would you ever stop? No one ever does. I've never met a systematic trader who retired. Not yet, anyway. Now, some of them are financially free. They don't have to do anything else in their life ever again. But you can be absolutely certain they stay in touch with the market. Maybe they don't scalp trade or heavily day trade like they used to, or maybe they don't go as aggressively in the markets as they maybe had done with 15, 16-hour days. But they still analyze the market 3 or 4 hours a day. They're still fascinated by it, and they still trade. So I set that as this framing because there is no end. There's no end goal. There is no point at which you will ever want to quit the markets. If you're an actual trader, you will never want. Even if you've got $10 billion, you're still going to be interested in the markets. It's not about money. And especially at that time, it's not about money. It shouldn't be about money from the beginning. But certainly, when you're financially free, it won't be about money. It's about the game. It's the intellectual challenge. And I say that so that you understand that spending 6 months in blue belt, or however long it needs to be for you, is nothing. It's not as if you're being held back in any way. You're only progressing as you do it. You are only progressing. You're not being held back even remotely, because every day as a blue belt you get 1% better. And if your only problem with it is that, oh, I want to trade more than $1, again, that's showing me that you're not approaching it with the mindset of someone who will make it. This also doesn't mean that as a blue belt you have to go for 12 months and never take a trade or never buy Bitcoin or never do it. You can still do anything you want to do. I am not your master and commander, your father, or your whatever. I'm not here to tell you what to do and impose rules on you and ground you if you don't do it. You are a free person. Do whatever you want. But as a blue belt, I do expect that you do your 100 trades with $1 of risk. Whatever you do outside of that is up to you. But I do expect that you follow the blue belt program for as long as it takes. And if you're going to trade for the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years, then a few months don't matter. Well, actually, a few months, they really fucking do matter. Because if you do them wrong, you set yourself up for years of failure, not success. If you do them right, which is the way I'm prescribing, you'll set yourself up for success. So I misspoke. They fucking absolutely do matter, but it doesn't matter about how fast you can go, how quickly I can size up. Yeah? And with that said, to answer the 100 trades question, I still recognize and understand that if you tested your first system in white belt, even if it's profitable, but it's on a daily chart, and you get an average of 7 trades a year, yeah, I don't expect you to spend 14 years as a blue belt to do your 100 trades. So feel free to test a 5-minute system, a 15, a 1 hour, a 4 hour, whatever. Make sure it fits in with your lifestyle. That's the most important thing. If you've got a day job, if your big goal is centered around making money, building a business, and you've got 2 or 3 hours a day to spend on trading, I still recommend you don't build a 5-minute scalping system because you just simply will not have the time to execute it. And there's nothing worse than building a system and then not being able to be at the computer to execute it because you're going to get signals and miss them. So avoid all that. 1 hour chart, you should be able to find plenty of trades and have several systems. You could have 3 or 4 systems running. You analyze the market for 2 or 3 hours every day. You set up your trades. You enter your trades. You can easily get a handful of trades every week. And even if you can get 5 trades a week, right? That puts you in a position where you don't need that long to pass the blue belt phase. All while you're getting all that invaluable experience as a trader. Now, taking trades. So I'm going to explain how you can take trades with a live demonstration. The question that I got quite often was, can you show me how to enter, calculate this position size, place the stop loss, all of that, as if I were taking my first live trade? You did all this in white belt, but it was of course in replay mode. It was in the past, and I do understand that for many of you, you'll never have taken a live trade before. So this is important. So I've got a hypothetical system. I'll preface this by saying this is not a good system. This is not a bad system. This is not a system I've tested. This is not one of my systems. This is not a magic system. Do not try and trade this system. If you want to go back test it, sure. I literally just made this up 5 minutes before I started recording. The hypothetical system is on a 6-hour time frame, is an entry rule, being a confirmed false breakout of the Michaels bands, as you'll have heard them, the 12 and 21 EMA bands. And I will enter on the candle close, which confirms the false breakout. And I spelt which wrong. Stop loss goes below or above whichever false breakout wick was created. The take profit is the candle close that confirms a break of structure of the swing high or low. So it's a trend continuation system. Now I'm going to use Bybit testnet for this. It's functionally the same. I'm going to go on the 6-hour time frame like we're on, but I'm going to show it on TradingView because the testnet looks like fucking dog shit. So here we have it. This totally made up system that I just invented on the spot because I saw something that fit my bias. So it's not a profitable system. But the rule is price must false break out below the bands. So meaning on the 6-hour time frame, it must go below the lowest band, or if it wasn't the other way, it would be above the highest, but this is an uptrend, and close back inside. So the 6-hour candle went below the lowest band, closed back inside the band. That is the trigger to enter. Okay? The trigger to enter would be on the candle close, so right on the candle open of the next candle. And the stop loss is below the wick. And the target is a confirmed break of structure on the upside, because it's supposed to be a continuation strategy. There's the swing high, as denoted by candle closes. And this one, for many of you will have a system like this, this does not have a fixed exit. So the take profit is not set. I can't put a take profit order on the system because there has to be a candle close that confirms the break of structure. So for that, I will set an alert. So I would set an alert at this level. And for anyone who's doing a system that doesn't have a predefined exit, you can do this. You set it at the break of structure. break of structure potential, wait for 6-hour candle close, TP, if valid, BOS occurs. Okay, that would be the take profit rule. So hypothetically, if price come up and closed the candle above here, it would take profit, right? Again, just made the rule up. Doesn't mean it's a good rule. Now, the entry, obviously, this is slightly delayed because we already had the candle close. So there's two ways you could enter this. If you had your initial alert set, and if you were waiting for this to form on replay mode, if you imagine this happening, if you imagine price was moving here, and you're like, oh, Bitcoin is moving down, maybe it's going to go below the lower band, so I will set an alert on the lower band, which you can do by sorry, I'm in replay mode, so it doesn't allow me to set an alert. But you can set an alert. You all know how to set an alert, and you can configure that alert to set for the bands, or if it's a price level, just set it at the price level, and type in your alert saying potential 6-hour false breakout. Wait for candle close confirmation. Okay, and then you watch it play on. You see that it has in fact done that, and so at that point, at the instant this 6-hour candle closes, you can choose to enter immediately as a market order right on the next candle open. That's one way of doing it. That means you got your signal, you enter straight away. That price will be 36,695, which you can probably see on the right hand side, and your stop loss will be 36,525. Okay, so if we're doing it that way as a market order, you would calculate your position size. So if you're trying to do $1 of risk, your hypothetical size would be, entry would be at 36,695. Stop loss would be at 36,525. Okay? I'll get my calculator out here. And so 36,695 minus 36,525, that would be a $170 price move. As you can see on your position tool, 169.1, right? $170 price move. So if you want to risk $1 on a $170 price move, you would have to place a position size. So I'll just write this second part in. So that would be a 170 price move equals stop loss. If I want to risk $1, I would have to place a position size of 0.0588 BTC. 0.00, sorry, 2 knots BTC. Okay? That would be the position size. So if I copy that and I paste it in on Bybit, if I opened a position of that size, it would allow me to enter the trade, and if price went to the stop loss, so if I go on a limit order here and I go 36, I'm only showing limit order to show the hypothetical returns, 36,695. Okay, Bybit, as most exchanges will have a minimum order quantity. It won't allow me to put in 0.0588. So you can choose to either round it up or round it down. I'll show you both. Go to the take profit stop loss, enter your stop loss level, which is 36,525, 36,525, and you can see the expected loss would be 85 cents if I entered 0.005 BTC. Okay? If I entered 0.006, because that's all it allows you to do. You can't do anything less. You can't do 0.0058, unfortunately. That's just the way it is. On Bybit, the order quantity has to be in minimum increments of 0.001. So it can be 0.004, 005, 006, 007, and so on. So if it was 0.005, it would be 85 cents of risk. If it was 0.006, it would be $1.02. So right away, you know you cannot enter 0.006. Can't do that. Because the other thing we have to account for are fees and slippage. The fee to enter is always going to be there. Whether it's a limit order or a market order, you're going to have to pay a fee to get in. Same thing if you take a stop loss. You're going to have to pay a market order to get out because you're going to place a stop loss. So you cannot have your expected loss being above $1 because the expected loss on the position calculator does not account for fees and it doesn't account for slippage. So in this instance, it's better to do 0.005 and you have 85 cents of risk. Okay. And then when you enter, you'll pay a small fee. When you exit, you'll pay a small fee. And your total loss, if it loses, is unknown. But at the time when it happens, you can then calculate it. And don't stress before your first trade about whether it's exactly perfect. This is why we dollar trade. So as you do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trades, you will figure out roughly how much you need to put in to have an expected loss that matches your realized loss. Meaning, I know from my own experience that if I put this in exactly like it is at 85 cents of risk, and I took a stop loss, market order in, market order out for stop loss, I would lose less than $1. Probably somewhere in the mid 90s, probably 95. Okay? So that would fit within my 10% deviation. Because if I risk $1, it has to end up being no less than 90, no more than 110. 10% either side, okay? Nice and simple. So then I could place that. That is obviously using limit order just to show you how the position tool calculator works. But if we were, and you have to imagine here, if we were doing it right on the candle close, you could just enter as a market order at that level with your stop loss. Okay, 36. You will put in your 36.525, right? Now, it says 137 now because obviously the price is higher, but I showed you before, if it was at the level that we wanted it to be at the candle close, it would be 85 cents, okay? And then you enter it, and you just simply hit buy at the market, get straight in, okay? I'll have to transfer my fake money across. Excuse me. So I have to transfer my fake money from my fake account to my other fake account. Oh, shit. Put it in here. There we go. Okay. Now my fake money's in. It's going to show your order confirmation screen. Confirm it. And it will enter. Okay? Also, you can play around with the leverage. Depends on your own, how much you actually deposit yourself. If you deposit like, whatever, $20 into your account, and the value of this is 184, then your system will have to use some leverage. If you have $20 in your account, the position size you're trying to open is 184. Well, 184 divided by 20 will tell you how much leverage. That'll be 9.2. So 10x leverage should work. Maybe you need to put it higher. That's up to you. You can figure that out. Maybe if you've got $50 in the account, you don't have to use 3 or 4x leverage. Again, refer to the leverage lessons for that. But for the purpose of this, I'm just showing you how to actually enter. You should already understand the leverage from the lessons. You can figure that out separately, okay? So that's how you would enter. If it was at the market right away, then you're in the trade, then your stop loss is set, and then all you have to do is wait for your either stop loss to get hit, okay, or your take profit to get hit. And you can see that right away here, I'm not sure exactly how accurate this is in testnet versus live, but it's saying that there's been a 10-cent fee already. So that's my market order entry fee. I've had to pay 10 cents already to get into the trade. So you remember that my entry, my stop loss, was 85 cents. I've already paid 10 cents. Okay? If I then take a stop loss, that will be another 10 cents, roughly. So that would be 20 cents of fees in total, plus my 85 of expected loss, which would leave me at around 105. Assuming no slippage or minimal slippage, that would leave me within my 10% deviation. So that is fine. Maybe I lose 106, 107, but it's within my risk limits. Perfectly fine. Great. Now, I'll do it the other way to show it. I'll just close by market and do it again with the limit order. So this would be the other way you could do it. If your system is more about enter on a retest and not enter immediately, again, this depends on your system. You can have your entry 36,695, put it in limit order 36,695, same stop loss 36,525. Right, so if you were waiting for it to come down and hit your entry, put it in as a limit order, same size, same stop loss, hit buy, confirm it. It does not place right away, it places as a limit order. A limit order will not fill until price comes down into that level. So make sure that is part of your rule. If your rule is the candle close or whatever is my trigger to place the order, but to actually fill the order, it has to come back for whatever. Maybe it's a breakout retest, maybe it's hitting a liquidity level, whatever your rules are, that's up to you for your system. And that will allow you then to place it on the system. It will not fill, but when it does fill, it will place the stop loss immediately. It will enter you in. Your fee will be slightly lower for the entry because a limit order is cheaper than a market order. And that will get you into the trade. So that's the two ways of doing it. Market order or limit order. That's how the sizing works. And then to touch on this about how you track it. Okay. So how I would do that would be, I'm going to assume that I entered with a market order. Right. So when you're live trading, you can add columns in if you want. Order type. I would say entry order type. Your stop loss order type should always be a. Let me just wrap this. Your stop loss order type should always be a market order. Okay. Entry order type. Let's say this time it's a market order. You entered at 36,695. Your stop loss was at 36,525. Your exit is not known yet. It's undefined. And so that's going to leave your returns all fucked up. Don't worry. That will change once you put in your exit. So if you imagine, hypothetically, price went up to 37,419 and you close there. 37,419. If you hypothetically had a winner, it will fix it. 4.25 hour winner. It will go down as a win. That will all automatically calculate. Okay? But the main thing you're focusing on is your entry, your stop loss. Is it a market order or a limit order to enter? Right? Then, what you want to do is you can add some more columns for expected loss before you enter the trade, which for us was 85 cents, and then have a realized loss. So let's imagine, like that example, there was 10 cents to get in on a market order and 10 cents to get out on a market order. That would leave our realized loss as being 105. And then you can say deviation if you want. You can add this, which would be, is it within? That would be a 5% deviation, right? Meaning I expected to lose, my risk. I should have a risk one as well. You can put risk, which is $1. Expected loss, 85 cents. Realized loss, 105. So then the difference, and you can put a simple formula in here. You can put the deviation as being the difference between the expected, the risk and the realized loss. If it's plus or minus 10% or less, then it's fine. Market in green, that was a good trade. It met your risk limits. If it goes beyond that, if you lose 112, 115, or if you lose 85 cents or 83 cents, then your deviation was too far off. Because it's not just about losing less than 110. Now that's the most important thing, but if your loss is less than 90 cents, you're still being inefficient. You could have actually had a bigger position, which is important too, because then you're taking away potential gains. So you can have your risk, and it does not have to be a dollar. It's called dollar trading because that's just a simple term. You can do, depending on what coin you're trading, there are altcoins, right? If you're trading altcoins that have lower units, so Link is $15, you can easily enter a position size in Link that would allow you to lose, if it goes from 15 down to 14.80, there you can set up a trade that only loses 27 cents. And the benefit of some of these altcoin trades is that you can be much more precise with it, and you can set it so that every trade only loses 20 cents or 30 cents or whatever. But the exact same principle applies where you have your your predefined level for you, so whatever your 1R is for that trade, should go into risk. So let's say there was a link trade. Now this will be on a separate system, of course. But if you had a link trade and you wanted to lose a maximum of 30 cents, and so you set it up so that it would lose 27, and then you enter and you calculate how much the fee was, and then you exit with a loss, you calculate that fee, then you put in the expected loss here was 27, and then the realized loss will be whatever the realized loss was, including fees both ways and slippage. Let's imagine that realized loss ended up being 32 cents. That keeps you within your deviation, either side, right? If you had a 30 cents risk, the maximum you could go to would be 33 cents, 10%, right? So 32 is within that, you'd be fine. It's probably like a 9% or well, actually it would be a 6.66%. And you can code that as well, so it works. That's what you need to do. Don't worry about it being exactly a dollar. If you're trading Bitcoin, quite often you will be limited by the position size, like I showed, where it can only be in increments of 0.001. Don't stress about it. Figure out and fit whatever works for you. If your risk, because of the position size of Bitcoin and you're trading Bitcoin in your system, if your risk has to be $2 per trade, that's fine. Okay, if you have to use slightly bigger position size because you're catching smaller moves, then that's also okay. The main thing is that if your risk is $2, right, and your expected loss is like 180, make sure that your realized loss is under 220. That's all you're trying to do. So if it's 214, great, you're under $2.20, 10% deviation. And then of course, mark that deviation, whatever it is. So that's how to actually enter, exit, set your trades up, entry, stop loss, take profit, per your rules, and then you simply do that over and over and over again until you've done 100. So that's it. That's the lesson. GM.